Hello, everyone. Welcome. Is everybody feeling happy? Yeah? We have an amazing panel sitting right here. Did anyone last year join the Past Life panel? Or watch it? How many hands? All right. So some of you actually know that Cindy and I found out that we were related in the past life. I can briefly tell the story.
Yes.
We sat on the panel and she said, "Hi, my name is Cindy," and then she started asking me German questions. I said to her, not to be impolite, I'm Danish, I'm not German. And she looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't speak German, and she did. And I told my story about a past life, my first experience with past lives, as a child, Jewish child in Germany. Growing up, my family got, moved away by the German soldiers. And I, for some reason, barely lived for 6 months, trying to survive within buildings and friends and stuff like that. And she started being emotional and said, "I'm sorry." She got all the same experience as my father back then. And she told me stuff afterwards that only I knew. I knew I was the only one who knew it. Wow. And she told me that. So that's my dad sitting there. And with that short story, what I would like to do, as being a member of several panels, and also being the joyful audience, a part of the joyful audience, I would like to know how many people actually have questions for a panel like this today.
Oh, so many questions.
So many questions? Only one? Or a couple?
I have enough for the whole
For the whole day?
But
we might want to fill in with some other people also, but let's see what happens. Because what I would like to do, everybody got great stories to share, and what I would like to do is actually have everyone here to present themselves, tell how they work with past life, and maybe doing it short so we can always, all of us, fill in the blanks for everyone sitting here. Can everyone agree on that? Would that be a good idea?
Yeah.
So to be, of course, polite, even though I'm speaking right now, let's start from that end and move it up here so everybody knows what we're all about. All right?
Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Rivera. I'm a little bit different probably than the other panel members because what I did is I did a study. I collected surveys from around the world, and I actually measured the type and degree of benefit from past life regression therapy, and I have the charts here. And that's what my book, Healing the Present from the Past, is about. We have a research institute, and we conduct research studies on past life therapy. Dr. Donna Kennard back there is on the board. And started the whole journey for me. So that's what I'm about. If you have any questions about what the benefits of it, I'm the person to ask.
Cool.
I'm Dr. Norma Auerbach, and I do past lives thanks to Al Krasner and a postcard.
And a postcard.
And a postcard. I received in the mail in 1983 a postcard announcing that the American Board of Hypnotherapy was going to be doing hypnosis sessions in Queens, near the airport. And who would I be? It was like my guides have found me. And that's started my story, and I moved on from there.
I'm Dr. Benny Vreeland, and I'm a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist and the founder of the Vreeland College of the Healing Arts in Camarillo. I did put a flyer on your seat, so if you want to get in touch with me, you can do it through this. My first thought was, do I say people come for one of two reasons? Because my experience was that even though I like to work with the people who come for deep emotional issues, I know that my first opportunity to experience past life was with my daughter, and I was just curious. So people will come for past life for curiosity. My daughter said, "Mom, have you ever heard," this goes way back, my daughter's 50, and when she was 15, she said, "I'd like to try past life regression because I feel like we have a connection that's deeper than this life." So we went to a woman named Gertie. I still have the little audio tape. And my daughter and I went separately because we didn't want Gertie to think that we were connected. So we thought we'd pull one over on her, right? Yeah. Anyway, my daughter went first, and she said, "I'm not telling you anything until you go." And we came back with the same story, and that was that we were both in a concentration camp together. We both escaped together. We were not family at that time in the concentration camp, but we died together. And so my daughter and I had this bond from that time on, even though, you know, we still couldn't see where it was or what year it was, but to us it was like something that really kept us and held us together. That's my initial, although there have been hundreds and hundreds more, my initial experience with past life.
Oh, great. Thank you. I'm Cindy Sawyer, and I'm probably the altruistic one up here because I'm just an information gatherer, and then I pass it on. And I've been very pleased to hear this kind of mentioned many times this year in the conference that I haven't heard before, where we've reached a level now of, I'm not going to fix you, you're going to fix yourself.
Right.
And so my goal, I put together these little how-to guides, and because I want you to do it. I'm not responsible for that. It's your life. And I don't know if I should read this first paragraph, and that kind of explains it all. Kind of explains it all to me, because there's one big, huge word that I absolutely says the core is to everything is love. And we are here to live in the present, not the past. If the past encroaches on our present, then we need to take care of business. Regardless of what happens to you in this lifetime, the two greatest keys necessary to unlock what you are looking for are faith and love. You set this life up. There are no victims. It is your duty to your soul to get back to love.
I love it.
To shine. Our soul's fingerprint is one of a kind where there is no normal. We don't have to understand why, we just have to have faith in what is. I believe our soul's goal is to achieve a state of love, regardless of the challenges, roadblocks, handicaps, cruelties, and self-defeating voices we come up against. That we are to shine in the darkness and stand against evil as it does exist. And this is one possible way to get the past out of the present.
Wow.
And then I have detective dialogue.
Good stuff.
Thank you. And then I have, if you're going to, my paper here for each one of you is called Past Life Detective, Connect the Dots. Now last year it was traveling your past lives, but this one you can do from your own armchair. So in here are, it's called the Dots worksheet. And also I was really tickled to hear the word dots used many times in this conference that I had before, because that was sort of like setting you up for connecting my dots on my paper. So later if we have time, if you want me to go over this, fine, but let's move on. And thank you for listening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Martin. I come from Denmark. You might know that already from the accent. Even though I have like a thick accent from Denmark, a guy said yesterday, "Is it Australia?" No, it ain't, mate.
Barbie.
But anyway, my full introduction to hypnosis was actually through a past life regression. I told my story last year. I won't bother you with it again. But I was the most skeptical, delusional maybe, young guy having handed this gift certificate. And it was the most amazing experience. Everything that could go wrong actually went wrong, but I was kind of having a moment of my life knowing, just lean back, shut up for a moment. Lean back and see what happens. And had the opportunity to study with the best in the field, personally with Dick Sutphen for several years. He's a good friend of mine, Michael Newton even, and people like that, and always try to pursue some kind of justice, some kind of truth within this. Until I found out, why pursue it when you got it already? And therefore the kind of work I do, I've been with so many people saying to the clients, well, if the door is shut, I really can't help you this time. And I know, well, if you're there already, if you got the connection already, there will be an answer. It's just a matter of where to look for that answer. So I do something called soul key therapy, and everybody get full access to what they need to know. So I'm definitely interested in your scientific work, because I got thousands of clients with documentation of past lives and everything that could be beneficial.
Wow.
So that's the kind of insights I'm here to bring. I'm the skeptic guy still, but I must admit that I get surprised every day by my own experience and clients' experiences. It's a privilege to work with this kind of work. Yeah. So I hope you guys are interested in what we do and have a lot of questions, hopefully. And hopefully we can fill in the blanks for everyone. Yeah?
I'd just like to ask something.
Ask.
I feel that I have the crippling relationships with my mom and dad. And I feel that my mom was here to kill me, to grab me, to hate me, and at the same time to save me and love me. And it's to the extreme. And for my father, I feel that he's there to criticize me all the time, to look for the small editing mistakes, and you feel them here. And it could give me power, but it's also destroying my lungs and my throat.
Well, instead of going into details and doing actually analysis of your experience, I would say, how could a past life regression help you? And there will be several cases of how to help, simple stuff like that. I had a client once, just give you guys the chance also, she had the same relationship with her mother. And she had this experience of going to the place I kind of create for her in between everything. And there was this healing portal in the middle of it. And she met her mother's spirit, her higher self, in that healing portal. And everything got solved. She didn't actually get the past life, but she got to meet her higher self with all the chances of going anywhere she wanted. And I told her, well, when you get back home, don't tell your mom about this, but you will feel a change, definitely. And she called me the day after and said, my mom's changed completely. We're like friends, like real mom and daughter. And I said, is it your mom or is it you? Well, she didn't know. I said, maybe it's you both, but just, cherish that moment. So everything is possible. It's because you said what you're thinking about, what you might think is the truth, but it's way beyond that, really. Anyone?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, one of the things that I always ask my clients, is that the truth, or is that your way of thinking? So when you frame it that way, it doesn't make you a liar, and it doesn't make them right. It just gives you the opening to say, oh, maybe I have it hooked differently. Because when we're children, we do what we have to do to survive. And that's how we create our way of thinking. And our way of thinking is what gets us through our childhood to wherever we are now. But sometimes we don't give that back. We hold on to it because it served us then, and it may not serve us now. Does that make sense to you? Great, thank you.
But I am always right.
Of course you are.
I think we have to also, consider the possibility that our experiences as a human
That's right.
could really much be way different from an experience being in a past life with your higher self, because mostly what you experience right there is, a complex soul that easily can handle any human emotion, but getting right back within the physical body, it's a different case. It's right there in front of you. So I usually kind of, separate those two, because it's different experiences. As a human, yeah, we can be mad as hell, but as a soul, it's like, so what?
But, I'd also like to add, there's also time period differences that create emotions. I mean, if in one time period, some behavior would be acceptable, judgments might be different, whereas in the present, those aren't necessarily things that are important or that aren't seen as negative. So really, because you have your own fingerprint of your soul, you need to do the detective work. And if it's something that you can't do, then you do seek out a past life professional therapist. But I'm hearing, maybe, just like you said, reframing it from your direction rather than from the framework of victimhood. How is it that I can love these people? What is it that they have given me through all their behaviors that has allowed me to become the most amazing person that I am now? It's not about them, it's about you. It's all about you. You're the most amazing person on the planet, your soul. So whatever's happening to you, you've created that, and it's all about you sitting in the middle of it. And whether it belongs here now is up to you. The thing is, take the stuff from the past, deal with it, and forgive it, put it back in the past. It's like there's detective guidelines. They're quick words. Remember. When you're dealing with one of these past life situations that you don't understand, get in remember. Then be present in the past. So be there. Then acknowledge that this is real. It's not some fairy story or a made-up thing. Then seek understanding of it. Accept it for what it is. Don't judge it. Accept it. And then let it go. It doesn't belong here anymore. It's not yours. It's not the you now. It belongs to the little girl back then in another life, the little boy, the man. Whoever it was back then, it belongs back there. It doesn't belong here anymore. But it's unresolved. That's why it keeps dragging like a long tail that, hasn't been cut off yet or put to rest or buried with the rest of the body. And then and move forward. And then acknowledge this is now.
I think that each of us come in with our own truth. And my truth today is based upon what I know consciously today. And as I learn more about myself, my truth tomorrow will change, just like my Akashic record will change. And also acknowledging, based on some things that have happened just personally to me over the past few years, I do think there's a bleeding through of your cell memories and your morphic resonances, and that you carry them with you, and things may happen at a certain point where an event will trigger off a cell memory and you're not even aware of it, and it's going to dominate what's going on in your life until you can seek some help to open it up and figure out what's going on. And I'll give you a quick example. A couple of years ago I was supposed to be here, and the cab was going to pick me up at 5 o'clock, and starting at 11 o'clock I was getting terrible pains in my neck and right up and down my arms and so forth. Sharp pains. Now, as a woman, there are different heart attack symptoms than men, so I didn't know what to do. My husband's fast asleep. Comes 4:30, I figure I better wake him up. I don't want to get on the plane, and so on and so forth. To make a long story short, I stayed home, went through all these tests, even wrote an article for Shelley's thing on it, and no heart attack, just whatever it was. I have a dear friend who lives in Japan who reads past life memories. I don't have to do a past life regression. She just has this intuitive clairaudient thing, and she tells me it was due to a past life that I had on the Hutchinson River Parkway, which is right near me, where I was attacked in the Revolutionary years by Indians, and there were 16 arrows all over me of the places where I had them, and I died in the winter, but it was in March that I died, and it was similar to the time that I was supposed to come over here. And she then cleared it out of my system through a chakra clearing. And from that point on, I started looking at what are these cell memories that are going through, because I think we all have them. You've got a pain over here. Well, how much of it is it from this life, or is it a past life memory? And you need, especially we go to doctors, they can't find anything wrong with us. That's the time you want to seek help through your past life. You need the alternative way, because there are answers. So your truth is changing every day. And I think we're all here on a quest for truth, not only for our clients, but also for ourselves, because as we change ourselves and grow, we can facilitate their growth more and more. So we're doing God's work.
Definitely. We have two people saying the one in question, Catherine and Comfort.
First, and then
Okay.
So I hope this won't get me in trouble. I was trained to essentially do either clinical or past life regression. And yet I found that with a couple of spontaneous regressions where people went back on their own, and it wasn't a big, long induction. We didn't do happy memories first and then womb. They just went there. And the healing was just as profound, if not more, and it was amazing. So I started just doing it all the time and not calling it that.
That's right.
And
Why not?
It's amazing.
If it works,
and it's-
go for it.
Okay, great.
is it
That's what I
about
wanted to-
is it about the client? It is about the client.
Yeah.
Then do it.
Yeah, you want to help them. That's your
Right,
goal, to
exactly.
help.
And I mean, some of them, of course, were freaked out afterwards. I mean, I always tell them this is a possibility. But if they didn't come with the intention of doing a past life, and yet I run with it, or I even go
Are
in
you
that direction on
taping your
purpose.
past lives?
Yeah. Well, I'm
Okay.
recording them.
So then they can listen to it afterwards. So that lets you off the hook. You give them a copy, you tell them go home and listen to it. And while they're listening to it and reliving it, some more learnings may occur to them.
Okay.
And always know the information wouldn't, suddenly pop up unless it was the right moment for it.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's
We're
time.
not just floating around picking
Exactly.
up past lives to brag about them and everything. That
It's-
they're being made known for a purpose.
It's a chosen
Right.
moment, actually. So,
Okay, great.
yeah, go for
That
it.
puts me at ease, and they were all so beautiful that I was happy
Oh,
to have them. I
of
want
course.
more of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
And if it doesn't work, try something else.
Could you elaborate a little bit on the concept of past lives, the reasoning for being reborn and for each life type thing? And who decides what you come back for, what reasons you come back?
Isn't that-
Yeah, you do.
You do. It's completely 100% up to you. Robert Schwartz wrote
yes,
absolutely two brilliant books that you might like, Carm, called Your Soul's Plan. And it goes into great detail about your soul planning with your guides, God, the angels, whoever's around at the time, and your group. And you kind of sit up there like a planning committee. And there's different details. Some people don't go through that because they just in a hurry to get back. There's no one right way. But Robert Schwartz has fabulous. He came out with another new book too that goes into great detail what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's one concept, but the other concept of having the three masters deciding what lessons you're coming back to learn. There's different concepts, as I was wondering if...
Right. No, me,
Yeah.
I'm totally, my soul's completely involved in it. I'm no
When they say once
like
you've learned all your
loose
lessons, then you come
cannon.
back as a teacher or a prophet.
That's kind of religious aspect of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, from different religions and different
Yeah.
perspectives, I hear. Well, for the years,
So far, I had like a couple of thousand clients doing this, and when everything comes to a certain point, they know they chose it. Nobody told them. Maybe they met the spirit counselor. There was maybe 3, maybe 10, maybe 12 people sitting there, but in the end, they know that they told them what to tell them in that situation.
But they didn't just choose it.
Yeah.
They came in with an agreement with their parents and with everyone else they were associating with. We all chose it together to work this together.
Soul agreements.
So none of us are victims. We are
Right.
part and parcel of this plan.
That's right.
I
And
had a
that's what's
client.
beautiful about it.
I had a client. He was disabled from from waist down, and I told him about maybe it was a good idea to experience it. And he said, "I do not trust any of what you do. I did not choose it. How stupid could you be?" And a couple of years went by, and he said, "Well, let's go ahead and do it. Well, what's the worst case that could worst thing that could happen?"
They finally
And he had that experience.
Yeah.
He came and met his counselor. He knew that he chose that life. Afterwards, he started living his life.
Wow.
Today, he's like a rugby player in a wheelchair.
Oh my
He's the
God.
chairman of the national disabled community. He's living his life, and he's thankful. He said, "I knew it." He said, "Yeah, right." but he was everything that you could be against that idea, and he lived it, and suddenly got the answers.
Well, as I caught a little bit of that, it seems that they go through in groups and they change positions, such as father, sister, mother, brother,
Right, sex, whatever.
aggressor, oppressed, and all that sort of thing. And that's where the lessons come in that I
Yeah.
got from that.
I don't think all lifetimes necessarily have to be with your group.
Not
Because if you're,
more
see,
than
there's
one group.
there's so many different possibilities. Because you might come into one lifetime just to whip out some karma. you know. And your soul group, they don't decide to join you. They're just staying up there, you know. Hey, we'll meet you in the next life, you know. I mean, so it's this that you just travel with your soul group. I personally don't think that's a rock solid rule. There's so many dynamics that they're beyond our human imagination. It's like a New York City map, you know, with all the alleyways and everything like that. We're standing up here going, turn this way, turn that way, what happens?
Yeah,
Lisa.
I have to really agree with that because there's been several people that I have met and we knew each other, and really, we didn't have this big, long, you know, we came back with the collective together. It was just something we needed to get done.
That's right.
We got it done, and that was it. You move on.
Exactly. And sometimes you might find that if any of you have had relationships where you absolutely adore this person, and you're wondering, God, why don't I marry them? But you know, and you literally tell them, I am not supposed to be with you. I love you beyond anything I can imagine. But I don't see myself being with you. I have to move on and let you go with love. I mean, that sounds crazy, but I know that for my personal experience. I mean, I didn't marry the ones I wanted. I loved, never mind. Anyway, so, but you know, it's kind of like sharing a moment to like maybe get them back into the feeling of love, or getting you back into the feeling of love, and then you go on to whatever it is you're supposed to do. Whatever it is you're supposed to do. We're not always privy to everything, but we're getting little hints.
A great book on the subject is actually one that Richard Sutphen wrote called Soul Agreements.
Yes, yes.
Talks a lot about this, how relationships can, you know, wander in and out of your soul group and whatever, how you agree on to meet up in life. It's a good book. Yeah.
He's the master.
He's the master.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Anyone?
Does anyone have any questions about the study that we did, or? Okay, there you go.
I'd like to know, in your research, did you find that whenever, just in my own personal work, whenever we achieve something through past life regression, does it change the dynamic in the family, maybe heal an entire family?
I have seen that with interpersonal relationships. I have that as one of the parameters on there. What we did is we did 25 different statements on all areas of your life, from physical healings, fears and phobias, loss of fear of death. And then we rated that, and we collected 265 surveys from all over the world. They're all anonymous, and so sure enough, they are on there, and I can show you, you can look at the results of it. But the biggest healings, of course, are in the areas of thoughts and feelings and perception, and then the last of the observable effects, which would be like the physical healings or the fears and phobias. But you could pass that around, you could look at that, and you can see exactly how it is with improving relationships. People change their jobs. 83% of the people that took the survey were female. 83% the ages between 40 and 65. This is the majority. Youngest is 13, oldest was 80. This is all in my head. But 22% of the people that took the survey had a physical healing spontaneously from the thing. But if they went in specifically for physical healing, 80% of them got that physical healing. So this is important for the practitioner. This is important for you if you're going to do past life therapy, so you know what's going to be effective for your client, or for a client that's coming in. You want to know if this is going to be an effective treatment for you. If you have back pain, is this the best healing modality? Just if you're going to take a pill, you want to know what the side effects are and if it's going to be beneficial. You want to know if this is going to be better for your fear of death and your peace and contentment in your life, or whether this is for back pain. And this is, you have the statistics right here, and it's all in the book too.
So important that we have those kind of statistics, because
I
it's
think
proof,
we're the
it's
first.
documentation.
When I was doing my research, I found all case studies and anecdotes, which are really great, but I had not seen anybody quantify it, and so I sought out. This is an independent study that my husband, who's a physicist, and myself conducted. And then now we have a board with therapists on it, Dr. Donna Kennard, we have a psychologist, we have a reverend, we have quite an extensive board now.
Now, you asked a question about change. Could you repeat that question again?
Yeah, I find in my work that whenever I do past life regression or genealogical work even, that whenever we heal an issue from the past, It changes the dynamic in the family, it changes the dynamic in the relationships, it changes the dynamics in say, the bloodline.
Then it changes the dynamics in the Akashic record, which impacts on people way beyond the family.
Yes.
And can you imagine how much better off the planet would be if we would be marching around doing past life regressions and clearing out all this crap that we're still fighting wars over? I mean, Jewish people this lifetime might have been Arabs last lifetime, or in the Inquisition before, and I'm sure we all took part in all this, and we're perpetuating this torture that we keep doing to one another.
He's speaking of epigenetics, definitely.
Yeah.
That's very fascinating. Now, I think maybe the next study we'll look at that as it goes down the bloodline.
Yeah.
There was another one in the back, wasn't there? Raised the hand earlier. Or question? No?
Well, I can do some connect the
Do that.
dots. I have my dot worksheet, which you all can pick up one. And this is, the dots are the clues that you receive throughout your lifetime as to, they're either solo random thoughts, events, emotions, familiarities, or a knowing. And the interesting thing about them is, even going all the way back to your childhood, you remember them.
Absolutely.
There's something about that you remember this as being important. And and like I said, the greatest source is starting with your childhood. And I only have listed, I'm sure you can probably add a whole bunch, and if you do, let me know. But I've got 11 quick ones. And anytime I talk about an experience, it's my own, because I haven't gotten permission from anybody to talk about them, and I wouldn't unless they gave me permission. So the first one is just your earliest emotion or memory of being here, and we all have that, but you know, birthmarks, moles, scars, and how you relate to them. I mean, me personally, as a little kid, I have a mark on my shoulder that everybody pointed out, and I said, that's my angel kiss. I mean, you know, from the mouth of babes. Or they had a series of moles on my shoulder. I called that my constellation from the age of 2 up. Turned out, if you mapped it out, it was Pleiades. Whoa, what did a 2-year-old know about constellations? Amazing. Clue, early phobias and ones that develop later, and usually they're age specific, you know, relating to then, and these are really important to get rid of. I had claustrophobia and, you know, died a couple times, eaten by sharks, whatever. Type of allergies. This is important. You have or develop later, and this is age clue as well. Allergy to penicillin could relate to the deaths of the moles during the medieval ages, the Great Plagues. How many people died during the Great Plague, which was a mold? Okay.
I died there.
Yeah, thank you. Reoccurring health issues or body injuries could represent wounds, illnesses you received or inflicted on others. Pain and your response to it. Is it a challenge, a punishment, a warning, a gift, or is it even yours? Is this my pain? No. I don't know where did it come
Give it
from?
away.
Yeah, let's get right. And then look at your relationships. This is a given. We all know about that. Family, romantic, especially the type and style. You're the black sheep in the family. Do you feel connected, loved in your family, or is something else? And then what kind of person are you drawn to? Sex, lifestyle, conventional, bohemian. And then how you see and feel about yourself. Are you comfortable the sex you are, the body size, shape? You dress to attract people, hide, for comfort, for duty, uniforms. Weight issues could possibly be a result of previous starvation or abuse. It's all protection issues. Number 9, now we're going, these I believe are very important. These next few are stories you told as a child and what you played and with whom and how. Quick one for me, when I went to a new school, I pretended to everybody I was a little Russian girl. And not only did I pretend I was a little Russian girl, I told stories. Yes. And they were accurate. Where I got them from, I have no clue. And it was a while before I just burst out laughing in the middle of telling a story while everybody was so enraptured for me telling them that I said, it's not real, I'm not a little Russian Russian girl. That was in 6th grade.
You blew it, they believed it.
I did. And I learned Russian later again in high school.
That's amazing.
I know, it was very natural for me.
I was
And then I had a bird hospice. I always had a bird hospice as a child.
What?
A bird hospice.
What is that?
A bird hospice.
Take care of
Birds
sick
that were dying or injured always showed up on my doorstep.
That was
Always, my whole lifetime.
That was the Falcons.
She's a bird nurse.
When you were.
Yes, and then it even happened, well, that's a long story, a hummingbird here and, anyway, and then, okay, names and places you're drawn to, repulsed by in books, movies, pictures, and travel, and last of all, dreams. Always the unedited magical place for answers, especially in childhood imaginations, and you can all remember dreams from your imaginations. Where did you go to be happy, or hide, or learn something? And where did you go to be safe in your mind? Who else was there? Are they still around? What did or still do you say to yourself? And then this just gets you exploring the most interesting person on the planet, and that's you in your soul.
And don't be worried if you don't have an answer to everything.
No, this is
You're
just
on
a
a path.
starting point.
Well, we have one question left over there. We have 1 second. And after that question, wouldn't it be nice if we all gave some kind of short advice to people regarding past life regression, like how to end the session today? Yeah?
I did, darling. I did. I finished.
But let's have the question over
I
there.
was just hoping you could all speak to regressions on other planets or in other realms that keeps getting more and more of those, and they're so wonderful.
It's a whole new panel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you a quick personal. I was in Dominor, which is northern Italy, last year, and they have, it's like the 9th wonder of the world. They have these caves with stuff from everywhere, and they had the world one with the glass floor and the constellations from the beginning of Jesus' time. The constellations were set at that. And they turn the lights off and you're looking at this mirrored floor, and I saw myself looking at this mirrored floor like I was coming from outer space, standing next to Driver, who was the man that was driving the ship to get us here.
Wow.
And that's a man I will meet in this lifetime. I am firmly convinced. And his nickname is Driver.
I've only had one person out of the 265 that said that they were from another planet. So if that helps. And no one famous.
No.
Some watery planet.
When I was a dinosaur.
But you know, it's like just as common or just as possible as past lives. But most people are looking for something, you know, human to relive or get with them or release somehow. But once in a while, some people just, you know, get somewhere else than just a past life, and it's just as common.
Yeah.
And I would say my advice to everyone would be, if you're looking for a past life, definitely go look up someone who can help you experience it by yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what your past lives are.
Right.
Experience by yourself, because that's definitely the thing that's going to release whatever you need to release, or maybe just bring back that old wisdom of yours. That's
I
Yeah.
can't find anybody that would do that.
There's a
oh, you're at the right place.
You have a whole conference full of people.
Exactly.
You're filled with a million here.
Anyone else want to say anything?
Volunteer.
My advice is that I don't give advice. I always ask, how do you feel about this? How does this resonate with you? And I love to bring the other person into it, rather than my putting my words or my experience or my thoughts into their into them. I believe we're all different. What comes up for me often is I look at somebody and I see things, because I'm very visual. I see things and stuff comes out of my mouth and I have no idea where it came from. And just a real quick example, when I first started doing past lives about 25 years ago, I went to a new car show, and I saw this woman standing there under the light, and she was bathed in light in my mind, and I went over to her and I said, I really like your outfit. Where did you get it? She said, honey, come over here. I want you to meet this lady. And I'm going, so her husband comes over and she said, this woman just told me that I'd been in an accident. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hear me say that. And then I said, well, you weren't you? And she said, yeah. And I can't drive my car because my car, I have this mental block. And sometimes you just have to go with it. You just have to go with your gut or your feeling or your whatever it is. And again, the mouth took over, and I said, well, your car's the name of an animal, isn't it? And she said, yeah, I drive a Mustang. And I said, no, it was a cougar. I drive a cougar. And I said, well, you have a cat, don't you? So she said, yeah. And I said, you love your cat, don't you? And I said, you love to stroke your cat, right? She said, yeah. So I said, okay, here's what I would like to see you do. Go out to your car and start stroking your car and get that image or that feeling of your cat, that connection, which is that place that you go to, that we all know, that happy place, and call me tomorrow and tell me how you feel about your car. She called me tomorrow. She says, I need to come and see you. I'm driving. So, I mean, this story went on and on and on and on. It just had so many different parts to it. But you just want to know that if you're open and you connect, it will take you there. You just have to trust.
Yes.
That's my advice.
If anyone got some personal questions or similar, I'm sure that everybody's available
Are we done?
afterwards. Yeah, we're
May I
done.
say one
Yeah.
last thing? We are all on a journey. We're all a work in progress. So enjoy the trip.
Spiritual beings on human journeys. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a certificate for Cindy on behalf of IHF.
Oh, thank you so much.
And the rest of us got ours. So
I
we don't
know.
forget another one.
I know.
May I have your hand up?